This is Matthew McConaughey,
Natalie Portman.
James Patterson,
Michael Ian Black,
and you are listening to
Five Questions
with Dan
Schawbel.
Lucy, welcome to Five Questions.
Hello. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So in your childhood, how did you balance the time between taking acting and singing lessons while being homeschooled?
I didn't do it very well. You know what? Here's what's so funny. I had somehow convinced my mom I was doing my schooling every day. But what I was really doing is I was waiting until Fridays and I would do like 15 hours of schoolwork. So I would have time to do all my auditions during the week. I was really lucky. I had like a super supportive mom who moved to LA with me when I was 15. Don't know how I convinced her of that, but she was on board with it. And like she was a saint. She would work nights and then drive me during the day to my auditions. So I don't think I personally balanced it that well. I don't know many people out in LA who balanced it, the schooling and acting that well, but we did our best. I graduated and but you know what? I never had a backup plan. Like I always knew like my heart was set out to be an actor, and I on purpose didn't really set a backup plan, because I think when you do that mentally, that's like what you're giving off to the world is like, oh, well, this might not work out, so I better have a backup plan. And I was like, well, screw that. No, I'm going to do this. And knock on wood, here we are.
That's something I find really interesting about you, actually, is that you didn't have a backup plan, and thus you're going to work harder for the original plan, right? If you already know you're going to have to lean on one or two other things, you're less likely to devote enough energy into what you're doing to maximize your ability to be successful. And in your industry, as you obviously know, we'll be talking about, is it's extremely competitive.
It's so competitive. And I mean, that is just like in my nature to, if I'm doing something, like I care 0% or I care 150%. And that's just how I approach everything in my life. I'm an extremist. It's a blessing and a curse. But I often wonder, because I started young and I was, supporting myself by like 17, 18. But like, if, in a hypothetically speaking, at what point in my life and at what age, if things weren't working out, would I have had that talk with myself? Because I have had many people in my life that have come to LA, have left LA, have come back to LA, and have had to have that hard talk of maybe I should change course in life. And that's got to be the hardest thing to do. And I do feel really fortunate that I haven't really had to do that. I mean, there are moments where I'm like, what am I doing? Kind of, we all have that, but I've never had to have that major, oh God, I should move home and find a new job, which is a blessing. And I always keep that in mind.
Definitely. And there's no guarantee of a future, and there's no guarantee that a show gets renewed too. So a lot of it's a little bit outside your control. You can only, focus on what you can control. And you've had multiple shows that have been canceled. I mean, like every actor has, every actor and actress. Even if you feel good about your performance, how do you continue to both persevere and make decisions about new projects?
Yeah. I mean, it's a really good question, because I think a lot of people don't realize that like this job is like my heart and soul, and I love it. And I fall in love with so many aspects of it, but like it continually will also break my heart in a million ways. And I think that ultimately you could look at it like, well, then don't do it. But I'm also like, no, I care so much about it that I'm willing to let my heart break. And it goes back to this 150% mentality. Every job I take, at least for the last couple, for a while, I have emotionally invested in, and I cross that line of, okay, I'm really going to care about this, with the chance of it getting canceled or no one liking it. And you have to do that. Whatever you do in life, you have to be willing to fail. Otherwise, like I don't ever want to play it safe. Like
Risk reward.
Yeah, exactly. And the last show I did, Katie Keene, was a joy, one of the best and biggest joys of my life. And it, like you said, it got canceled, but that's life. And you move on and you learn from it, and you put on your big girl britches, and you just, smile and feel the feels, like feel what you're feeling, but move on and hope that people give you more opportunities, which is like, so after Katie Keene, I knew I knew the next thing I did, which is Ragdoll, I knew it had to be something different, and I had to get people's attention in a different way. And the show is drastically different from anything I've done, which is really exciting.
And when one door shuts, that allows you to open another door. So if you're devoted to one series, you can't take on too many other projects while you're in that series. So potentially a cancellation could be a blessing in disguise.
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, I'm also a believer that everything's working out in your favor if you believe that. Like, for instance, like I wouldn't have ever done Pretty Little Liars if I had taken this other movie, which turned out to be terrible. Like it would have been a bad career move. And I was like, oh, which one do I take? This really D-list movie. At the time, I thought it was great, or Pretty Little Liars. Thank God I did, because that opened up, and like you said, for every cancellation, there's something that does well and succeeds. And I think you have to know that in this industry. Like I don't know how you learn to deal with rejection. I don't necessarily think I deal with it well, but you just have to know when you step into that role, you're going to hear a lot of things that will like truly break your heart. And you just have to learn how to like persevere and just power through it.
Yeah. And you've spoken out that, getting the part in AMC's Ragdoll was extremely competitive.
Oh, there you are. I lost you. My Wi-Fi is so crap here. Okay. You're back. We're back.
You ready?
Yes. Ready.
So you've been really outspoken that it took a lot of effort and will to get the part in AMC's Ragdoll. This did not come easy to you, even though you have a very strong track record and resume. Why was it such a challenge to you to land the role, and how did you eventually get it?
Yeah. So this isn't a show about, oh, Lucy has a support system and followers. Like they don't care about that. This was more, I read the script and was like, holy crap, this is so crazy. I have to be a part of this world. And I'm not sure where they stood, but in my head, I probably wasn't what they had in mind for the part. And I was just like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to do something that's scary, and I'm going to audition for something that I'm probably going to hear no from, but let's do it. Like you can't lose anything. Let's go for it. And they liked it. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to lie. Like I was a little shocked. I didn't know how it was going to pan out, but I was grateful that they saw something in me. And like, this just feels like a new chapter for me, because this door opened. Like I can only hope it's going to lead to other roles that feel like super fulfilling for me, because the Ragdoll experience, just creatively was what I needed. Like it really made me, it was just another reminder that I like what I do. And I really care about what I do. So yeah. And it was also humbling to have to like fight for something, not that I expect everything. It's nice. It's actually nicer to show up to a set knowing that you're going to give them what they want, because there's been times when I've been offered something and I'll show up and I'll just be like, I'm definitely going to get fired and lose my job because they don't know what I'm going to give them. It could be totally wrong. So there is like a comfort in knowing that everyone's sort of checked it all off and everyone's on the same page.
Yeah. And it's a good reminder to you that no matter how successful you are, you never know how things are going to play out as well. And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So why not give it a shot? Why not give it a shot and try?
That's one of my favorite quotes. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that might be my answer to a question I know.
And aside from being an actress, what inspired you to support eco-friendly products like Karma's Plant First dog food?
Yeah, I think for where I'm at just in my life, I only want to do things that like feel genuine and resonate with me, because I could say, "Ooh, buy this product," because people put a price tag on something. You can sell someone anything, but like that just feels so doesn't feel authentic to me. And so like I worked with Karma Pet Food and Almay, which is a makeup brand who uses sustainable packaging, because like at this point we have to care. Like we actually have to care about what's going on around us. And it's not going to change in my lifetime, but if I can speak about things that matter to me, whether it's the environment or basic human rights or women's rights, that people are listening. And I think that, you know, the internet and social media can be a really dark, scary place, but it can also be a good place. And it can also be a place where ideas are shared and there's like a ripple effect. And so for me, I talk about things that resonate with me, and I don't talk about things that don't. I mean, it's really as simple as that, but like, I do care about the environment, and it's little changes, like sustainable packaging, that'll add up to the bigger picture.
Yeah. Everything's going to affect you like it or not. And I think what you're saying is really smart, because it's not like, you know, let's say 25 years ago, you know, you'd have to go on TV to kind of voice your opinions on these important, you know, environmental topics. But now you could just go right on Instagram and you have, you know, tens of millions of followers, and you could voice your opinion. So, and you can do that repeatedly rather than waiting every, you know, movie cycle to go on, you know, the Tonight Show or something like that to be able to talk about these. That's a huge difference. It's ongoing. You can keep on penetrating, you know, the audience and get these issues out there. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it can be a really amazing tool. Just on like, even if you aren't in the public eye, like just as a human being. And, you know, some people take it to an extreme level, but that is kind of, I don't know, the beauty in it. Like we all can have our opinion, which we all seem to have a lot of opinions about a lot of things lately. It can be, the internet can also be false information, whatever. But for me personally, I can say that I can voice my opinion and voice what matters to me. And I know that, you know, you take it or leave it, but you know, if it resonates with you, cool. If you don't like what I'm saying, sorry. But I do feel grateful that, and really respect the people who support me. So I always want to have like open conversations about things that matter. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with like women's rights and like mental health. And I think that having these open conversations really goes a long way, maybe further than we even realize.
And those two topics are very intertwined too.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's your best piece of career advice?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. No.
You know who says that, right? Wayne Gretzky.
What? Is that who said it?
Yep.
Okay. I just always say that. I never actually knew that. But best career advice. I mean, definitely dare to fail. I think, what is my best career advice? I mean, I don't even know if I've been given any. Like, how I've learned the most in my career and my life is truly me falling on my face and messing up and just screwing up and being like, all right, well, and whether that's personally, professionally, whatever, like people can give you advice left and right, but guess what? Only you know what's going to work for you. And I think that is it. That's it. My best career advice.
Yeah, well, that's the key. I 100% agree.
You got to do what's right for you. Don't listen to the outside voices. Like, follow that inner guidance, because we all have that. And we forget that we have that intuition. So just like lead with your gut, lead with your heart. Even if it looks weird, just follow that, because that's the only thing no one can ever take away from you.
Well, that's great advice. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.